on. All right, then. All right, dude, keep it clean out there.
Welcome everyone to the AMP 8-hour Enduro for 2019. We're in the middle of summer and today's race is going to be a hot one. Let's check out the starting grid. Matthew Roberts did an excellent job putting driver's ed P3 for today's race. Out of all these teams, there's probably about 6 that are actually contenders for the win. Let's get down to the grid as Matthew Roberts takes us on his journey for the start of the race.
What's going on, everyone? It's Matt Roberts here to give some commentary on the AMP kart racing 8-hour Enduro. We're talking to the starting driver from Team Driver's Ed. You guys are used to Michael Norris talking, but today it'll be me. Unfortunately, with his GoPro, only able to get one stint, but luckily it's always the best stint, the start of the race. Those of you guys who've seen his videos before know how this Enduro format works. You have a team of drivers, we switch around, switch the karts as well in this particular format as well. I was lucky enough to qualify for the team, and we got a good start, had a good kart, qualified third. The kart in front of me that you can see there in the blue race suit is a different kart. We're racing Sodi rental karts. He's in a Praga rental kart, has just a little bit more pace, and it seems like they had a professional driver or semi-pro or amateur driver who knew what he was doing, so they schooled us on this first stint, but later on they would end up falling back, so no worries about having an unfair kart advantage. Instead, we're racing here with our friends from Fortress of Solid Dudes. Can never tell if it's Nick or Wes. They look basically the same in the kart, but I can never distinguish the two really. But one of them is in the kart. They're driving pretty well. They qualified 4th, had a great start there. Usually we're used to starting a little bit deeper in the pack and just working our way through with our pace, but luckily that start was pretty simple and straightforward. Just make sure you get through the first hairpin fairly cleanly. Obviously, saw my friend Nick and I, we split that one dude right at the start. That was a lot of fun. And I just let him in and gave him plenty of room, and we just went through. And we started the race. The one thing we noticed right off the bat in qualifying, the kart has great pace, and you'll see that a lot of times in this video where I'm able to catch guys through much of the track. However, this section right here sucked. Absolutely sucked. In the video, watching it now, it looks like I can't turn worth shit, but to be quite honest, this kart just did not want to turn right at all through that hairpin. And I tried multiple different things, and throughout the race I was talking with my team, asking what I could do to improve that in this kart, and ultimately I couldn't. I really could not get it figured out. A couple things you could try is just slowing it up, braking a lot earlier, trying to get the kart nice and stable as you go through the turn instead of trying to carry too much speed. Because ultimately what was happening was every single time I was going through that hairpin, it was just pushing a lot, especially on the exit. It would make it maybe to the center of the corner, but then it did not want to continue turning. Right here, I just gave a thumbs up to his teammate on the front stretch, and immediately Wes goes around. As you can see there, he was super sideways. Felt really bad for the guys. I tried to stay close to the inside as I could, but because of the kart's pushing nature, it just kind of kept on barreling me towards him even as he was going sideways, and he was already, I would think, halfway through the spin at that point. But later on, he said that he was, there was nothing I could have done to save him, hit him or not. Looked like he said he was going to lose it. Felt really bad. But they got the last laugh in the end anyways. They ended up piping us to the finish, finishing 3rd. We came home in 4th place in this event. Just due to some strategy calls. We got a little bit unlucky with the last call that we made. We were running great pace. We were battling for the lead all day. We led for a lot of the race, but unfortunately we just got stuck in the worst kart for the last stint. And, just about a second and a half off pace. Nothing much I could do. That was me going over to the other guys at Fortress Solid Dudes, trying to let them know I'm sorry. Didn't know what I could have done there. But effectively right now, the good news is we are on P1 in this video right here. Running around in clean air. Trying to work on that hairpin downhill. For those of you who have not been to Atlanta Motorsports Park, it is a beautiful, beautiful track. Lots of green around. This is in the summer, so it's extremely hot. This is still early in the morning, but I believe right now it's already piping up to about 85 degrees. This is the 4th of July weekend too, so right in the middle of the heat of the summer. This is down in Dawsonville, Georgia, so it gets pretty hot. I went to go with my full race suit. I debated wearing that all day. Decided it was probably best for me to go with the race suit, and when you're out in the car, everyone knows it feels great when you're out there running out in the open in the air, but it's when you get out of the car the heat really sets in, and then on the 3rd or 4th stint is when you really feel dead. But I decided to go with the race suit just so I could avoid the sunburn factor, because one year I went pretty bad. I got some gnarly skin peels on my neck and my forearms, and I had to wear arm sleeves for like 2 weeks straight because it was hideous. So right now, not much going on. This is part of the time where I'm just talking with the team, trying to see where we're at in the race. Just like in the video, I talk a lot, and that's no different than when I'm in the kart. We had, for our team, 3 members, 2 other drivers. We got myself, we have Michael Norris, and you have Jared Parker. All of us very, very good, at least in this form of racing. And then we had my girlfriend, Cassidy. She came along for her first trip with us, and she was our team mom. She also functions as a spotter and work communications. There, I just completely butchered that braking zone. I believe I got some lockup on the left rear tire when that happened, and I just did not catch it. So there we lose P1 there to, I forget which team this is, but they were battling. They were pretty scrappy all day. This guy in the blue shirt in front of us actually was very good. Any kart that he got in, he was getting the most out of it. The other teammates, don't quite remember racing against them, so I really don't know what to say. But I do remember seeing that guy in the blue shirt. He was very, very formidable. So now the game changes. We don't have clean air anymore. So now you're playing a little bit of game of catch up. You're also still trying to work on what you can with the kart. Because of the nature of this racing, it's endurance racing, but you're using rental karts. You can't really work on any of the karts at all because you're switching karts. It's maintained by the fleet. So you get the pro of not having to pay a lot for equipment and worrying about wear and tear and, money. But on the other hand, you do lose that ability to control what you do with your kart and how it runs and where it's performing well or not. I get a great run on this guy here, but he has a weird braking zone, and I think he missed it too, which is why he went so wide there. I'll catch it. And then I'll follow him through here, but his kart, where it maybe lacks in pace, absolutely dusts me in handling. Later in the race, I had a stint where this team right here in front of us had the same kart. This kart at the left corner is kart 12. They'll get it later, and I got absolutely furious on the radio because when I was following them, every single time on the exit of the hairpin, and I'll show you next lap around, he would go and take this runoff area, which was supposed to be illegal. We were supposed to stay between the 2 white lines. And I don't know, the marshals just didn't exactly see it, or maybe they felt like he was still within legally, had 2 wheels on the track. I thought he went 4 wheels off every time, but he noticed that this kart didn't want to turn either, and instead of trying to fight it and not make it work, he just let it run wide, which I thought was gaining an advantage on the competition. But it worked out. We still finished ahead of them as well, finishing in P4. I believe they finished P5 or 6. Starting to come up in our first lap traffic here. That is a huge battle in any form of endurance racing, is how you manage lap traffic. That and pit stops, and ultimately pit stops was one of our downfalls, but we did really well handling lap traffic. You'll see every team will have little scrapes here and there, and you'll see one from me later. But the key that I found is be patient. any spins or scraps you get into are not worth the time. And ultimately, in this race, over the course of 8 hours, we ended up getting just one too many, along with the bad luck at the end. And those seconds become valuable. We ended up losing the podium spot to Fortress of Solitudes by 10 seconds. Granted, we were in a cart that was a no ability to fight at all at the end. However, 10 seconds, you could easily go back and find any one of the spins that we have in this race, or any one of the incidents we have in the pit stops, and can easily deduce that cost us a podium. It's a long race, so when it comes to lap traffic, I just try to stay patient, more or less, unless someone makes a stupid move, and I had plenty of guys who did that in this event. Just a second ago, we saw the guy in the 16 car. He gave me a motion in the back of his helmet. Typically, that means he wants to bump draft. And, you know, bump drafting on certain tracks works. This one, with the elevation changes, it can work. We just found that a lot of times the parity between carts and how they perform are so different. Right here, I have such a strong run. Yeah, I can give him a bump draft, but I can easily have just gone by him if I chose to. And the question is, you know, are you going to work together? Do you really feel that not working together is advantageous? I definitely helped his lap time a lot by giving him that bump. I shunted mine a little bit with that. But in an instance like this hairpin, I lose maybe 2 or 3 cart lengths right there. And then another 2 more as we get up the hill because he has such a better run. 2 carts that are so dissimilar there, I feel like it's not going to work having a bump draft mechanism. And I'm going to catch up to him in about a lap or 2 because this cart will do that. It has, again, great pace down the straightaways. If you've ever been to a track in North Carolina, you got GoPro Motorplex, much flatter. Carts are very well maintained, and not to say the carts here weren't well maintained, but we did find that compared to previous Enduros, this fleet seems to be showing its age a little bit more. Not quite as reliable across the board. And case in point, that last cart we got at the end of our run. Got a spin here, go in underneath. It's nice and safe, nice and clean. But anyway, back to GoPro. Beautiful track. Didn't have any Enduros this year for rental karting, which was a real shame because they always put on a really great event. But there you can get some real bump drafting. If you can find a partner there, you can easily improve your lap time within 0.3 all the way up to a second if you have 2 guys that are very fast and very capable. And they both have good carts. The drafting there is incredible. The run you can get on people there is insane when you're in a train of 2 or 3 carts versus by yourself trying to figure something out. You'll get absolutely trained out there. Here, the way the track is formatted, because with the hills, the elevation changes, and then the carts, as I already mentioned, you're going to find lots of times that the way the track is segmented into these sections, you can pretty much reset your run. And here I got a good run on him. I decided to go with him. But essentially every big turn here, this is the beginning of what I would call the first section. You come across the start-finish line and you're diving yourself into this hairpin. And then I would say your next section begins at the top of this hill, because this is still all kind of one section here. Your next section begins right here, and it all resets right here. It depends all on how you approach this corner. You get a good run here, and then you just go downhill and you're flat out. You're just maxing out the cart's capabilities here. Right here, I'm going to go with him, and I'm going to regret it. So there, I expected him to stay wide and outside, and I was going to go inside, not to make a pass, but simply just to get on the inside of the driver that we were passing, the slower cart. He then checks back down and gets on the brake I don't know if that was him trying to turn or if that was him trying to defend against me. I wasn't looking to pass. I was way too far back to have attempted a complete pass on that. I was just simply trying to get myself on the inside of the lap car, but with him coming in and then getting on the brakes, was not prepared for it and ultimately locked up, and that set me around. We had a pretty good lead going there. I believe we fall back here to around, I'm going to go ahead and just guess, P5. Luckily the kart has good pace. I'm pissed at myself at this point, but definitely not out of it. We've had worse starts before, so we had no problem, and we knew as a team that we were definitely podium worthy. And honestly, we came in here thinking we had a very good shot at the win. Give you some perspective, team drivers Ed, we finished P2 in the 6 hour earlier in the spring. That was just a team of myself and Michael Norris. And honestly, Jared Parker, I believe, is the best driver on the team. And so we came in here thinking we had an even greater shot. And the year before that, in the fall Enduro, the 10 hour, we finished third. So we had a podium streak going. No reason why we couldn't get out of it now. Just got a little bit unlucky. But we definitely lost to some very good teams. And we beat plenty of other good teams for what it's worth. One of the good things about getting in an incident like that is, one, immediately you get on the radio, everyone's talking to each other, and we're talking about what should we do as far as strategy. It is a long race, but having an incident like that happen to you early in the race allows you to get off strategy if you want. So we could have dove into the pits if we thought we had a bad kart and that was the reason for our issues. If we think that we just need to cycle through drivers and get some pit stops out of the way to maybe get aggressive on pit strategy, we can do that now because we've now lost the lead and we're no longer, setting the pace for the rest of the field. Or we can continue if we think that we have a good kart and it was just a mistake, and that's ultimately what we roll with here. We know the kart is very good. We qualified third, so the pace is there. I like to think that the driver's there. But, this hairpin is just crap. So that's the one thing we talked about, was where we're going to switch carts, where we're going to ditch carts. But we ultimately stuck with it. We felt like we could still run it out. Typically, whenever we get into these Enduros, if you get a good kart, a really good kart, you want to keep it for as long as you can, even if it has a little bit of issues with it. If it's got very good pace, and you have a very capable driver in there, and you're running top times, which at the time they still were relaying to me that we were, then you keep running, and you just try to clean it up as a driver. You just try to do the best you can, make little to no mistakes, really focus, hit your marks, and get it going. We had a little cut in there in the video edit, so don't exactly know where officially we're running at this point. But as you can see here, the lap traffic is building excessively. So you got a kart here that's a little bit slow. I appreciate the guy giving me space. Now, as a slower driver, or in a slower team, or a heavier weight class for these Enduros, because there is weight classes for some of these. This one, we're in the Pro-Am 175, which is the light. There is a heavy, I believe, 210 class, and I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on what that actual weight is. You'll see that on when I'm passing some of these guys. It's not the kart a lot of the time. Sometimes they'll be heavy guys and they just simply won't have the same acceleration as the light guys. When you are a slower driver, the mentality you have is definitely important on whether or not you let guys by or not. For an endurance race like this, I think it's critical just to keep it clean as much as possible. You certainly don't want to do anything that's going to really ruin your day. Here, these two guys are going really hard at it, and this guy loses it. I gained a lot on there, and ultimately I went wide, and luckily I got the same outcome that I think I would have gotten either way. I knew that I was coming up with them really fast, so I was probably going to get both of them by the time we reached the American flag there. Luckily, I chose to go wide. I wasn't sure if that guy was going to... Wow, that guy's all the way in the tire barrier. I remember seeing that in the track and thinking, what the hell happened to him? That guy must have went for a ride. But back to the hairpin spin. I went wide there. That easily could have been unlucky. He could have swung outside, and that could have hit me, and that could have really hurt us. At the time, it looked to me that he was going to continue his spin inside. So instead of sticking to that inside line and going really slow through there, I decided to kind of just let the kart coast out, keep my momentum running, get back on the gas once I got around him, and luckily that worked out in our favor. We got around both of those guys in the spin. And we got to keep on rolling. Another guy spinning out here in this hairpin. For people who are new to this track, this hairpin is extremely difficult. It's an elevation drop of about 40 feet, I believe, from the downhill all the way down to the bottom of that apex. And you're going from max speed on these karts, which I believe they claim is 55, but, you know, in reality, I'm sure if you got a speedometer, maybe 45, maybe 50 miles per hour. Maybe they're hitting 55. But either way, you're going down from that to, I believe, something like 30, 20 miles per hour. So you're dropping a lot for a rental cart. And you have a huge elevation change, which means a lot of weight distribution changes in the cart. You're going from the rear of the cart being very heavy when you're coming up that little hill, and then you immediately are going downhill. All the weight is shifting. Then you get on the brakes as well. Lots of different weight transfer stuff going on. It's very challenging for anyone that's new to karting, let alone new to this track. This guy just goes super wide, so I just kind of swing in there. I believe those guys are, I want to say, nearly racing from New York that I just passed. Very cool guys. Always fun to see out on the track. Another edit here. So again, sorry to everyone watching at home. I don't know exactly where we are in the running. Maybe Mike will put up some graphics letting us know, like, hey, we're P2 right now or something. I'm sure he can add some cheeky little stuff commenting on what I'm commenting on. We're moving along though, still running down other lap traffic. There is a point at this in this stint where we end up going back to P1 through some pit stops as well as just on track battles. I don't think we pass anyone in the top 3 on track. They go in pit and we end up gaining the lead that way. But there is some passes, I believe, from P7 up to P4 or something like that. Of course, I really don't know where they are, who they are. We're running down. You can pick up a draft even from this far back. And if the kart has really good pace, you can really make use of that. If your kart doesn't have pace, the draft can actually help you just hang on to a kart just for a little bit longer than you normally would, especially if your kart has crappy pace, in which case you would lose the kart. If you can just try to stick in that draft just for a little bit longer, it'll help you maybe a tenth or two, which can be really critical, especially when you just get unfortunate luck and you just don't have a kart that's quite as fast as the other ones. You try to make the most out of it before you ditch it. And the other thing you'll find is, even in a bad kart, you want to fight as much as you can. Every second does matter. Every position does matter on the track in the end of it. Like I said, we lost the podium by 10 seconds. And in the previous race, we lost first place by maybe only I say only a lap, but I mean, that's still a lot. But if you add up over the time of 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever your race is, deduct every single mistake you made each hour, and you can easily make up that time, and you might find yourself in first place. These two guys are battling hard. I'm going to give this guy a push because I feel like he's the faster one. And this guy did not like that, and he runs me wide. Then he gets a good run on here on the inside. I back out of it because I'm like, I'm not about that. don't know what's going to happen there. I thought he dove it in way too deep. I'm saying, hey, I'm good, right? Like, and luckily he seems to have let me by. And I don't think it mattered either way because this cart does have good enough pace. I'm gone. And so now we're going to continue on here. Got a big pack of 4 cars, 1 car down out of those 5. And we're going into this section. Everyone's on the brakes right now. Anyone going to lose it? No, we're still side by side. I think I can get this one here. Not quite there. He sees me a little bit. He knows I'm there. He's giving me a point by. I appreciate the point by. Thank you. And we're on. That's 3 out of 5 down. I have a pretty strong run. This is the guy I pushed earlier, so he obviously does have some good pace. All 3 of these guys go out wide. I kind of braked early to get a good run here. I'm on the inside. We're almost 3 abreast through this. This guy's going to go give me a little bit more room here. I'm going to go out here. There's still 3 cars on the inside of me into this hairpin. This guy does not give me any room at all. Pushes me all the way out to the bumper. I completely back out. And now we're just going to take this run as best as we can. That's 1 cart down again on the outside. And it's just trying to stay focused. I had some great spotter coverage through this. Jared and Cassidy and Mike were giving me great spotter feedback all throughout the day. It's very critical, especially in a big race of 25 plus teams. I mean, 25 carts are on track at any moment. I'm going to go to the outside here. I've got a strong enough run. And I'm just going to kind of see how this plays out. Yeah, I'm forcing the issue a little bit here. I don't remember if these guys are lap traffic, and I don't believe they were. But when you have a pack of 5 or 6 carts, you have to make the most of it. You have to be fast. You have to be clinical. Otherwise, they're going to eat up your times, and you are going to lose track position to the guys in front of you, and the guys behind are going to catch up. There, I messed the turn just a little bit. And this guy right here on our left is Mr. Goodlet. I believe it's JC Goodlet, Ray Goodlet, Ray Schaefer. I forget. I think it's JC Goodlet and Ray Schaefer. Together, they make the team Slideways, who are the defending champs of this event. They are incredible. Always find a way to beat us, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. So that pack of 5, I was maybe ahead of this team Slideways, by maybe 6 or 7 cart lengths easily. They unfortunately had a mistake early in the race, and they ended up sliding in the hairpin. But they're very fast. So that mistake was very rare, and they quickly made it back up thanks to this huge pack we just passed. And he caught up to me. He made better work of that lap traffic than I did, and he essentially just got a free pass there and was able to catch right back up to me. And so now here we are. I believe we're 2nd and 3rd effectively at this point, if I remember. And he sees me. He knows me. I know him for sure. So at this point, we both know we're going to stick together here, try to run out, get away from everyone. And it's early in the race, so we don't exactly have to battle each other too hard, which is nice. The one issue I had, though, was I could not, for the life of this cart, stay in front. This hairpin is terrible, as we've already mentioned 1,000 times in this video. And every single time, as you see there, already on the inside, now outside of me, is Ray. His cart is much better than the hairpin, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up letting him pass, or he's going to force it. He's going to pass me, and I'm going to let him go. This ultimately helped us out a lot, actually. I was able to change my braking and follow his line, and it was a little bit better for me through that hairpin. And also, me in the front, having this cart in the front, it was not very effective because I believe the pace was still too strong, so I couldn't get a bump draft from him. Basically what was happening every lap was just a nice little accordion effect where I would just get away just a little bit right here, and then in the hairpin, he would catch right back up to me, but that was it. I got a really strong run on the 20 car here. Just stay right to the inside. Nice pass, if I do say so myself. I still have Ray behind me this entire time. I follow that guy's line, a little aggressive, but I know with Ray behind me, I don't have really much of a choice. I have to keep on moving forward. Ray gets a great drive off that corner. I overdrive it. And he says we'll just switch it. That's what that little hand signal was. And as you can see here, my pace is good enough and his pace is good enough where we can work together on the straightaways. And this is effectively how you can bump draft at this track. Even with karts that are a little bit different in handling, but close enough overall, you can make it work. Our karts, his karts are strong enough, my kart is strong enough, we can use the strengths and weaknesses to help balance each other out. He knows my hairpin isn't good, I can follow his line, help me out. His pace isn't the greatest, my pace is tremendous, but the rest of his line and his race know-how is strong enough where he can still make a crappy kart like this one, which, for what it's worth, I think the 21 kart was decent that day. He makes it run well, and together we can maybe improve this lap times by maybe 2 or 3 tenths. More importantly, we're not battling each other. Battling each other side by side on this kind of track is killer. As you can see with that lap, the pack of 5 that we passed, those guys were all battling each other, and it just allowed me and Ray to pick them off like minnows. Even in an instance like this, Ray gets a huge run and he gets way away because he gets around the lap traffic so cleanly. The kart has such tremendous pace, and this is the reason why we didn't get rid of it. I'm able to still catch right back up to Ray. Spoiler alert, in case you were wondering, Ray and JC do end up winning this race yet again. So I believe that makes it probably 4, 5, 6, who knows, in a row of these Enduro events for them. But another good job, hats off to them. They are a great group of guys. They definitely know their stuff. So we're just going to follow around for a little bit here. Again, the handling of the 21 kart, again, is just destroying the 12, the kart I'm in. But these straightaways are very long, and like I said, these sectors do kind of help reset the runs that you get. And you're able to pretty much erase what just happened the last third of the lap in the next turn, which is really great. Giving a very good push. Now, karting bump drafting is different between when you have your own kart with no giant barrier around the kart like these rental karts have. I think there's a lot more finesse. Some might argue that there's no bump drafting at all in once you get into the actual ranks of karting, whether you're in the amateurs or pros. In rental karting, especially for these Enduros and these lovely protective safety barriers around each kart, bump drafting is hella fun. When you do get a good run on someone and you're able to use it, and I mean, look at this. This is the draft alone is fun, but when you get a great bump draft too, it is great. You want to just catch up to the guy, give him a little bump. You definitely don't want to smash him. At this point, you can see my right leg. I'm wearing all black, which is hard to tell, but I am only 75% on the throttle, and I believe at one point in this straightaway, I'm only 50%. There is such a strong run at this track and a lot of other tracks like it. It's incredible. You definitely don't want to be smashing 100% on the gas all the time. I'm using 100% as much as I can to catch up to his kart, but once I'm there, I'm just slowly applying the gas. Ray went a little bit wide there in the hairpin, but ultimately he has enough savvy know-how. He's able to save it and still run with it pretty well. This kart, luckily for him, is not good in the hairpin, so I could not get anything on him there. But you best believe that I was thinking about it. There you go in the corner eye. We're catching another pack of lap traffic here. Again, I believe we're still effectively second and third. I could be wrong. We might even be first and second at this point due to maybe a pit stop from the first place team. But we know that we are definitely going to be challenging for the lead. We've battled with each other now for over 2 years in these Enduros. So we both know what the other's got. So we're not too worried about, no offense to the other teams, but we just, quite frankly, hadn't seen them before. So we knew that we had to be watching out for each other. Yeah, this pack's going to be very dicey. You got some guys that are a little bit slower than others, and some other guys that just don't seem to know quite how to handle the carts or the line yet. Ray goes in, makes short work of the first one. I'm going to go ahead and take care of him now. Stay to the inside. This guy's way off pace. I have no idea what's wrong there. He's looking back, actually, so there might be something wrong with his cart. That's 2 down. I'm watching Ray. I'm giving Ray plenty of room. I don't want to bump draft too much in this scenario. Lots of instances of quick last-second decisions to be made, and that means I have to be calculating and judging every single one and reacting to it. It's really hard to do when you're directly behind the cart. Luckily, that guy goes ahead and gives it up, so that gets us around another one. And Ray's already hounding this guy, so I'm going to go ahead and help him out. It would make no sense for me to go ahead and go with this slower dude. Plus, Ray and I are already working together. And there you go. Got around him. Pretty much we started that all the way here at the hairpin, and we finished that in 1 lap. Took care of 4 or 5 carts in quick succession. Still have some more lap traffic here, and we are going to catch him before we get back to the start-finish line. We have a yellow flag there, so maybe don't pass him, but we're definitely up. There's a disabled cart. That's the red cart that we saw earlier. Lots of disabled carts at this event, unfortunately. Real shame as far as we usually look forward to the SOTI kart fleet. Definitely one of the more balanced and stable platforms, and still very fun to drive, very fun to race against each other in them. I find that they're usually very fair. You usually have to be very good on both your brakes, your gas, and your turning. They're definitely not the same beach karts that you're used to at your local beach go-kart place. They're very, very usually dependable. But more than anything, they're just a blast to drive. But unfortunately for this event, I don't know if it had something to do with the maintenance of the fleet from the track. I never like to talk too bad about any tracks, but this one, it just didn't live up to the previous Enduros as far as the kart performance. Many karts were down on power, it seemed, or just terribly handling. You even get in karts like this where it's pretty much almost a dream to drive, but that hairpin is just so awful. But again, you still have really good pace out of this kart. You still have, out of the 21 kart, maybe not as good pace, but you have great handling, it seems. It's some give and take. Hopefully for the fall Enduro, we either see them work a lot on these karts. Again, it is Georgia. The heat was killer in this event. It had been all weekend. They also had a 4th of July event just days prior to this event, and that could have factored into the wear and tear on all the karts. I know all the staff was very, very tired, and we do appreciate everything they did to put this show on. Hopefully in future years, maybe they don't put it on the same week as the 4th of July, so that way it's not as hard on the staff, especially hard on the karts. And maybe it'll be a little bit nicer weather, but it's the summer in Georgia, so really I don't think anywhere you put it in the summer, I don't think it's going to help it too much. But I know a lot of the guys in the staff were saying that they were working till late basically 3 days in a row. Between you had the 4th of July, then you had the next day was the day of practice for those who were coming out, along with anybody else who was coming out for just regular kart rentals. And then you had your member karts also out there. And then the next day is the day of the race. So that's a lot of, that's 3 days in a row of just intense use of this fleet. I would like to see the track go to something where maybe we have qualifying the night before. Because another aspect that I think I would like to see improve is the level of competition amongst the other lower tier teams. A lot of times you get guys out here for this event that didn't even come out for practice the day before, and maybe they've run the track once or twice, but they haven't been running the kart recently. You have instances, I remember sometimes in the previous events, where there was teams with no experience and they just showed up the morning of. I'm fine with that if they're competent racers and stuff, but I think it definitely helps if all teams get practice well beforehand, not only to learn the tracks, not only to learn the line, but to learn the competitors, and learn just what to do and what not to do at certain parts of the track. This stint is fairly tame. Later stints that unfortunately we just don't have video of, we get some pretty wild and gnarly decisions by some drivers that make no sense to me, what they were doing. I would never do that on a regular road, let alone a racetrack, some of the stuff that I saw out there. But one idea to help combat that is put this qualifying, instead of having it 10 minutes before the race event, have it held the night before. So that way it forces teams to get there a day earlier. One, if you're going to be qualifying, you might as well go and practice as well. You don't have to force the practice, I guess, but I find that if you're going to be there the day before, you're more likely than not to go ahead and put in some extra practice laps. Especially when you go there and you see teams like us. I know Ray puts in the time beforehand because he lives in the area, so he's definitely already doing lots of practice on his own. We see the Fortress of Solid dudes. They're there the day before. They're putting in a lot of practice, getting information on karts. Be really cool to see. But still a great event nonetheless. It's racing and beats a day at the office. Over here, still following Ray. Still making our way around. I definitely messed up a hairpin there. Tried something different, trying to figure out if I can fix it, and it did not work. Gonna pass this guy in the pink shirt here. Gives me plenty of room. I'm in. And even though I made that mistake, we lost like 5 to 10 kart lengths on Ray there in Team Slideways. And here we are already. 3 short laps, who knows how many. And we're already back up to him. Gonna give him a little bump. He probably already forgot that I was there. And we're back again. That turn there is really fun. You can do a lot of different things there. There's a little bit of banking on the end of it as it drops off, and that really allows anybody who slows the kart too much but goes way inside to still get a strong run to compete with anyone who goes and tries to take momentum around the outside. It really makes for a lot of great battles. It also helps a lot when you're dealing with traffic. If you see someone trying to pinch the corner and stay inside to try to hold on position, simply just take it wide. If you see someone who's just not really braking well and looks like they're going to overshoot the corner, just go ahead and brake a little bit earlier, brake a little bit harder, and you will kind of just go inside of them. Either way, if your kart has the pace, if you have a run on someone, you can use that corner to your advantage. It's a lot of fun. It's also critical if you're getting past. It's a place where someone can really try to set you up. You got to be very confident when you make your decision, whether you're going to go inside, outside, or try to run some sort of midline. We got a spin or something coming up here. But right now, see Ray goes ahead. He tries to go outside. That didn't work. He goes and tries to sneak it, crosses over on the outside. This guy cuts him off, tries to ruin his momentum. He doesn't know, though. I'm going to go and help him. I give him a huge bump, and that sends him through. And luckily enough, he gave me enough room to get by as well. In retrospect, you could argue that maybe I shouldn't have helped Ray so much. He does go on to win the damn thing. But, you know, again, they are a good group of guys. That does help. Obviously, if they were a-holes all the time and like when I got out of the cart, you know, wouldn't give me the time of day, I probably wouldn't be so inclined. But they truly are genuinely nice guys. Great Instagram follows, too. Although, they post a lot on their captions. I know they're older, but you got to keep your captions to, like, I don't know, maybe 3 sentences. This is coming from a guy who has 4 Instagram posts as of this video. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but just as a personal consumer of social media, Ray, just tone down the captions just a little bit. Just a little. Otherwise, though, the pictures are gorgeous. Definitely follow them if you like car pictures. Really good stuff. If you like car culture, racing. If you like old guys. Old guys who beat younger guys at go-karts and make us look like fools. I don't know if you guys saw that, but on the right side of the screen, you can actually see the car track. It is super cool when you're in this event and you get to see all sorts of sports cars and race cars go by, going the other way. Easily one of the greatest features of this track. The kart track and car track both use the same gate to get in. You just simply turn a different direction to go to the kart track, located in like the back right corner of the track, I believe. I don't know, north to south compass orientation. But we're going to go with that. Working some lap traffic here. Again, you saw me use that corner like I told you. I knew that guy was going to go outside just a little bit. That's usually the preferred line. It's the line that most people kind of just form up and take. Ray goes super wide here. He's going to get a hell of a run up the track, but I was able to get a little bit of the distance cut there. But again, I just used the inside of that last corner before we cross the start-finish line to make some passes on those lap traffic. We're still running around here at Atlanta Motor Sports Park in Dawsonville, Georgia. If you're still with us, this is 47 minutes into the video now. Kudos to you. You really, really have nothing else to do today. And you must really, really love some amateur go-kart racing. You're my type of guy. Or gal. I'm happily taken. But still, you guys feel free to smash the subscribe button. Like, comment, do whatever it takes to get your fix of this incredible footage here. Shout out to GoPro for the record. Let's watch this for a second. Yep, just dive right on the inside. Very nice. Very peaceful. Nice move. Can be therapeutic watching good passes. I hope they keep that American flag there for the 10-hour. It was really cool going around it for this 8-hour event. 4th of July was just this weekend, so I imagine that's why they put it out. But it is a really cool fixture to look at. Doesn't really change anything to the track. So I say keep it. If you're on the balcony, it doesn't really do much. It doesn't obscure your view at all. However, it does obscure your view if you're inside that building, looking over the balcony. Normally, the balcony has this sort of little bit of a gate. I don't even know what to call it. Gate railing, I guess. Gate fence that surrounds the balcony so you don't fall off into the track and hurt yourself. You can see through that if you're inside the building. But with the flag in place, at least where they had it for that weekend, you couldn't see directly beneath the track like you were beneath the building. You could pretty much see right up to where I am now, and then your view gets obscured. This is too far out, and then normally you'd be able to see, but you can't see right now. But otherwise, I say keep the American flag. Vote down in the comments. Should the American flag stay? Should it go? If you guys aren't sure what it looks like without, I definitely recommend checking out Mike's other videos of these Enduros. You can get a great view of what it looks like without it. Also get a great view of what it looked like before there was even a building there. We can vote down in the comments too if the building should stay or go, but I doubt that would do anything. Got around this guy pretty cleanly here. Still just following Ray for the most part. I haven't lost him, but I'm no longer bump drafting with him as effectively. I still haven't quite been able to figure out that hairpin, and it makes it really hard for me to sort of keep pace with him. But I'm keeping him in my sights. I'm pushing. I'm certainly not giving it up. Otherwise, he would have been gone already. I'm out of the throttle for so long, and I know that's still normal, but it's still even just a little bit longer than I would like to. And if I had footage of another kart, or maybe Mike, if you compare it to the other ones, he's able to get him throttled just a little bit earlier, as you'll feel the kart transition from going downhill to going uphill, and that's usually the sweet spot. That's where you want to roll onto the throttle. Over there, I don't know if you can see, but I believe there's 2 disabled karts. One on the side that we just drove through, and I believe one more here we're about to pass on our left. Yep, that's 2 disabled karts. Never a good sign. I think someone posted later footage of one kart that was just stranded all the way out here by this turn. Oh, we got another caution flag. What do we got here? Doesn't look like anything. Got a sweet green. Yeah, we both point to it. We both know. I believe that was a Porsche. Ray loves his Porsches. I don't know exactly what his fascination is with them, besides them being beautiful masterpieces, but why specifically Porsches, I don't know. Maybe Ray can give us some insight into what his love affair with those are. But cars are cars, so as long as it's not a Buick from the 90s on, a GMC from around the same era, or a Toyota Corolla, I pretty much will still like your car because it's a car. I don't know who at GM works on their lineups or their designs, but I feel like they really got to do a lot of work. GMCs, I know they're the luxury class. This guy, yeah, that guy was, I don't know if he didn't see me coming. Really, I probably shouldn't be pissed at myself. I probably drove it in there too deep when he probably wasn't expecting me to come around. But we save it. We keep racing. Anyway, back to what's the real problem. GMC, I really just don't respect them as a car brand. They just look like overdone Chevys to me. And nowadays, with what you get in, if you put in all the fixtures and all the mustard, ketchup, and relish, you get all the fixings in on your car. For Silverado, Tahoe, whatever you want, Escalade, not Escalade, that's a Cadillac. You basically cover it. I don't see why GMC needs to. It seems like it's a redundant car brand. Buick, on the other hand, I don't believe they're redundant so much as they're just unnecessary. Unnecessarily old looking. I don't know if they're purposely trying to look like a car that your grandma drives, but they definitely nailed it. I just don't understand what exactly they're going for. If someone wants to scream at me in the comments about why I'm wrong about how Buicks look, go ahead. I normally would say something like "don't at me," but I'm curious. I really want to know what the appeal of a Buick is. Anywhere you can even come to the current Buick models, which I know they've done a lot to rework it. Oh, that sucks for that guy. Yeah, you never want to get on the inside of that hairpin because no, I don't even know how that guy's going to get up the hill. He's probably going to have to get this poor guy over here to push him on the left. Yeah, Buicks are ugly. I'm sorry, but they're just ugly. The old ones, you go to old school Buicks, I understand. I get it. Like, those things look great. But you get to the 90s for Buicks all the way up to currently, and it just seems like they're older looking models of everything else that's put out on the roads. Doesn't make any sense. Gonna race here with this dude. who's not looking really to race. Not even going to look over, not even going to check. That's cool. Don't worry about it. Yep. No problem, guy. Let's see. I'm going to go, oh, now he's going to look. Thank you. Thank you. I gave him a thumbs down there. Not a fan. He's the Buick of drivers right now. And before that, I really liked this guy. I never actually met this guy or talked to this guy, but one of the guys I race against in one of the local leagues here has a helmet identical to that. And it really made me think of him. He's a cool guy. His name's Mark. Mark drives a little bit better than that. And I certainly wasn't liking that helmet this day anymore after that little incident. Ray is still that car ahead of us. He's still mowing down guys like they're Ghosts and Pac-Man. Just gobbling them up. I feel like Pac-Man Jr. trying to keep up, but I'm still going. I think besides that one spin that you guys saw me have, I don't think I have any more incidents in this stint, which I'm very thankful for. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for the rest of the race. We definitely had our fair share of spins throughout the rest of the next 8 hours that you guys unfortunately will not be able to see. But that's okay. Probably better that way. We would just be more embarrassed. So Ray is having a good battle here, and this is great for me because I'm able to just catch right up with them. Ray gets around him just a little bit quicker than I'd like. And I'm going to go in. The 17 kart had grid pace, and I remember that I don't exactly get the greatest thing here. Yep, alright, that's what you get. So he kind of saw me coming there. That's why he went to the inside. He tried to defend and tried to really brake, and as you could see, he locked up pretty hard. And definitely got what he deserved there. By all means, you're allowed to defend the inside. I'm used to seeing that more in sprint racing and shorter formats, but he felt like he deserved to be there, and he decided to make a strategic move to go there. Didn't execute it well, unfortunately. Yeah, I gave him a little bit of a bump there, but I also wasn't anticipating him to dive to the inside like that and also brake as hard as he did. Hence why he locked up and why I didn't. Because I personally didn't want to brake any harder. I didn't want to lock up. And I also am battling for the lead here, which is important. When you have the leaders coming up behind you and you're a lap traffic, you definitely do not want to mess up their battle unless you want someone very, very angry at you later. It is a long race, and like I said, you do want to be patient. On the flip side, it is a long race, and if you are any bit of a dick to anybody early in the race, they can definitely pay it back later. And the tricky part is, in this format of racing, we're not wearing anything to identify our teams. So you might be racing someone who you have no idea. You may not have raced against him all weekend. And next thing you know, he's giving you some payback for something you did to his buddy earlier in the race. You don't see a lot of that just because they will flag you if you have some over-aggressive driving, and if you have some tactics that are questionable, you'll definitely get a talking to by the marshals. But if you're one of those teams in the lower standings, I don't think you particularly care where you finish. I've been there before. But you definitely care who finishes ahead of you, especially when they race you dirty. There goes Ray. He's off. That means we're effectively P1. That means it's time for me to really push. Not that I haven't already been pushing hard. We're already, at this point, I believe this stint went for over an hour. Maybe an hour and a half. We try to use the most out of this kart. But that's pretty much the end for me. From here on out, I'm just going to go as hard as I can and just keep driving the hell out of this thing until it's time for me to send it back in. We do end up finishing P4. This team driver's Ed just barely missed the podium. Again, shout out to the top 3 finishers. I know first was Slideways, and I remember third was Fortunes of Solid Dudes. I can't quite remember for some reason who second place is. Mike, if you want to put in a little podium finish or standings of how it all worked out after this, you can. Or someone in the comments can update it, or maybe in the description. I don't know. Either way, congrats to the other 3 teams. That's pretty much it for me. It's been a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. If you made it to an hour, you guys are awesome. Thanks again for watching. And hopefully we'll see you guys again at the next Enduro or the next video. Take care.
Alright guys, as Matt said earlier, that does it for this video. I want to give a huge shout out to him for taking the time to do this amazing commentary on this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. With that said, here are the top 3 finishers in each class. And now for the rest of the results. Our next event is the 10-hour race, October 5th. Currently there are 23 teams already signed up, so it's going to be a full house. I thoroughly hope you enjoyed listening to the commentary for this video. Please like and subscribe for more videos to come, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the track.